We live in a world that worships speed. Every second, something beeps, flashes, or demands our attention. Messages stacking like bricks, deadlines racing like trains. We scroll faster, talk faster, eat faster, even rest faster. We call it efficiency, but in truth, it's a quiet panic wearing productivity's disguise. Our calendars are full, but our hearts are empty. We rush, not because we have somewhere to go, but because we fear being still. Stillness feels like falling behind. And so, from the moment we open our eyes, we start running, not towards something, but away from silence. It's strange. We have machines that make life easier, yet somehow life feels heavier. We finish tasks quicker, yet feel perpetually late. We live in an age of acceleration, and yet our souls can't keep up with the pace. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the hum of collective haste. A sound that's not really noise, but anxiety. A frequency that vibrates under our daily lives, whispering one message: you're not doing enough. There is a moment in every storm when the wind is loudest, and people mistake it for importance. Our culture is the same. It mistakes urgency for meaning. We've built entire systems around rushing, instant delivery, fast fashion, rapid response, quick success. If something takes time, we call it inefficient. If someone moves slowly, we call them lazy. But the truth is, slowness is not the opposite of progress. It's the foundation of wisdom. Think of a craftsman carving wood. If he rushes, the blade slips. If he hurries, the pattern breaks. The slower he moves, the more precise the beauty. The same is true for our lives. When we hurry decisions, we trade clarity for speed. When we rush relationships, we trade depth for convenience. When we hurry through pain, we trade healing for avoidance. Rushing gives us the illusion of momentum, but most of the time, we're just spinning in place. There's an old saying, nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu wrote that over 2,000 years ago, and it still reads like a prophecy for our age. We rush because we think time is against us, but maybe time isn't the enemy. Maybe the enemy is our fear of being forgotten, that if we stop moving, the world will move on without us. Rushing always costs more than we expect, not in money, but in meaning. It costs the quiet moments that shape us. It costs the awareness of the present, the way light falls across a table, the rhythm of a loved one's breathing, the taste of something simple. We lose these moments, not because they're gone, but because we never slowed down enough to see them. Chaos isn't loud at first. It starts small, a missed breath, a skipped meal, a half-listened conversation. And then one day, we look around and realize our life feels like static. We're surrounded by things, messages, noise, but none of it connects. Our attention becomes fragmented, or relationships become shallow. Even our creativity begins to decay, because creativity doesn't live in speed. It lives in the pause between thoughts. We say, I'll rest when things calm down. But they never do, because chaos doesn't end by itself. It ends when we choose stillness. Rushing is a kind of self-sabotage that looks like ambition. It disguises itself as drive, as passion, as urgency. But if you look closer, you'll see it's fear. Fear of missing out, fear of being unworthy, fear of facing ourselves. In the rush to get ahead, we often lose the very thing that makes us human, our ability to feel, to connect, to be moved. If you watch nature, you'll notice something. Nothing natural ever rushes, yet everything unfolds perfectly. A tree doesn't panic its way into spring. The tide doesn't force itself to rise. The sunrise doesn't shout, hurry, it simply arrives when it's time. The rhythm of life is patient. Everything that truly lasts, trees, rivers, mountains, love, grows slowly. Ancient spiritual traditions understood this. Buddhism speaks of right pace, a mindful rhythm of being. Christian monastic orders practice ora et labora, pray and work, not rush and react. Stoics like Seneca warned that life is long if you know how to use it. Across cultures, wisdom whispers the same truth. Hurry blinds the soul. When we rush, we forget the sacredness of time. When we slow down, time expands. In stillness, 1 hour can hold more meaning than an entire week of hurry. Even prayer, in its truest form, is a rebellion against chaos. It's the act of saying, I will not move until I have listened. The natural order has no shortcuts. Every seed must rest before it grows. Every wave must retreat before it returns. So why do we believe our growth should be any different? Slowing down is not the same as giving up. It's the art of moving with intention. To slow down is to say, I choose depth over speed. It's to realize that efficiency without purpose is emptiness. Slowing down allows gratitude to breathe again. You start to notice the world in layers. Not just what's visible, but what's alive. The quiet between conversations, the subtle tone in someone's voice, the peace that was always waiting beneath the noise. When we slow down, chaos begins to sort itself out. It's as if life has been waiting for us to stop long enough so it can show us what's real. You start to see that rushing was never about time. It was about trust. Do we trust that things will unfold, even if we're not forcing them? Do we trust that rest is not wasted time? Slowing down isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I no longer confuse motion with meaning. You begin to build a different kind of success, one measured not in speed or numbers, but in presence. You start listening more than talking, observing more than reacting. You rediscover what it means to truly be here, not as a performer, but as a participant in the quiet miracle of existence. When we stop rushing, something miraculous happens. Life begins to make sense again. Not because everything becomes easy, but because it becomes orderly. When your pace slows, your thoughts start aligning with your values. When your mind stops racing, your priorities rearrange themselves naturally. The urgent things fade, and the important things shine. The irony is that when we finally slow down, we accomplish more, not in quantity, but in quality. Our work carries weight, our words carry sincerity, our relationships carry meaning. And in that gentle rhythm, we find a strange peace, a peace that was never missing, only muffled by the noise of our own speed. It's not that the world becomes less chaotic, it's that you no longer feed its chaos. You learn that rushing leads to confusion, but patience leads to clarity. Rushing leads to exhaustion, but rhythm leads to endurance. Rushing leads to mistakes, but mindfulness leads to mastery. There's a quiet power in walking slowly toward what matters. You stop fighting time and start moving with it. You stop measuring days by how much you did and start measuring them by how deeply you lived. Because, here's the truth, chaos doesn't come from the world moving too fast. It comes from us trying to move faster than the world. So breathe, pause, trust the timing of things. The universe doesn't rush, and yet everything still happens. One day, when all the noise fades and the pace slows, you'll realize something simple. You were never supposed to race through life. You were meant to walk it. You'll remember that the things that truly shaped you, love, wisdom, kindness, faith, all took time. And in that realization, you'll smile, not because life became easier, but because you finally matched its rhythm. So let the world hurry, let the clocks tick, let the messages pile up. You, just breathe, and let grace catch up to you. Because rushing leads to chaos, but stillness leads you home.